Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Friday Charge, brought to you by Geek Studios. As always, we are your hosts, Joel and Sebastian, and today, January 30th, 2026, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk quite a bit about Tesla in this show. We're also going to talk about DC fast charging as a whole, and there's some weirdness going on in Kia land. So, without further ado, let's plug in and get started. All right, our first topic of the night is one that would have made it into last week's show, but it was not announced or noticed or whatever until right after we finished recording. And at that point, it was like 9:30 at night, and I wasn't getting back on here. I wasn't going to make Joel get back on here and redo it. We just said, forget it. We'll talk about it this
I'm
week.
old. I went to bed. So yeah.
Tesla has killed Autopilot. So in a move that seemingly surprised everyone, late last week, Tesla removed basic Autopilot from all new vehicle orders. For those unfamiliar, Autopilot was the name for Tesla's basic ADAS suite and consisted of features such as adaptive cruise control, which Tesla calls traffic-aware cruise control, and lane centering, which Tesla called auto steer. Starting January 23rd, all new Teslas now only come with traffic-aware cruise control. In order to have any sort of lane centering moving forward, you will either have to pay $8,000 for FSD up front, which is only available until February 14th, or subscribe to FSD monthly, which currently runs $99 a month. However, around the same time that this was announced, Elon stated on X, Twitter, whatever, that we should expect the cost of FSD to increase in the future. Tesla has also removed auto steer from all new vehicles in inventory. So that means cars that were built prior to this change but not purchased had the feature removed from them after manufacture, which seems odd to me. Tesla has also seemingly removed any mention of Autopilot from its website. I feel like this is likely due to that lawsuit we talked about a few weeks ago in California that has kind of required Tesla to stop using the word Autopilot in their marketing materials. And used vehicles in Tesla's inventory are now listing the feature as traffic-aware cruise control with auto steer. Many people were perplexed when Tesla launched the new Model 3 and Model Y Standard, as both of those cars did not have Autopilot, despite having the hardware for it. You know, their bigger brothers all still had Autopilot at the time. But now it just seems obvious to me that Tesla was simply testing the waters on whether or not they could get away with selling cars that didn't have Autopilot. There's been a lot of speculation as to why Tesla would do this, and there's a couple theories that I feel like are credible to talk about. Not saying any of them are right, not saying this is it. You know, this is all purely speculative. Many have pointed out that Tesla's Autopilot ran on a very old software stack. Tesla hasn't updated it in a long time, whatever. I personally, if it did the job of a basic ADAS system, I don't feel like being on an old software stack is a reason to just kill the feature. Maybe they were having troubles developing it, and with their development on AI 5 or hardware 5, whatever. Maybe they're having trouble porting the older software to hardware 5 cars or whatever. I don't feel like that's a good reason to just kill the feature. Many believe that the removal is because of that lawsuit in California. However, if the whole issue of the lawsuit is the naming, Tesla has proven with the used cars in their inventory that they can just call it something else. Instead of calling it Autopilot, they can call it traffic-aware cruise control with auto steer. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well, but it works. Many believe that this is a direct result of Elon's latest compensation package, which rewards the CEO based on how many people are subscribed to FSD. That one to me seems pretty likely. Just not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that's what it was, again, all speculative, but it wouldn't surprise me. Ultimately, in my opinion, this seems like a huge miss for a company that's always been obsessed with safety, right? That's kind of been their marketing ethos for a long time, that they build the safest cars on the road, whatever. And that has been a generally true statement in a lot of ways. Also, basically any other car in the price range of Tesla's current offerings will feature lane centering. And almost every car below Tesla's price range does too. For example, a base Toyota Corolla starts at $23,000 and comes standard with adaptive cruise control and lane keeping or lane centering. Let me make sure I'm clear on that. It's lane centering. Lane keep is just of where it'll ping pong you between the lines. Lane centering is it actually takes that into account and keeps you in the middle of your lane. A base
Mhm.
Nissan Leaf, which now starts at 29.9 and has over 300 miles of range and all that jazz, also comes standard with lane centering and adaptive cruise control and all the other safety goodies. And yeah, this feels just like a miss for me. I understand why. I personally kind of seem to believe that it is directly because Elon needs people to subscribe to FSD to get paid. Um, and how else do you do that other than just forcing people to buy FSD in order to have basic functionality that they could get on literally any other car? Because one thing Tesla does have to their advantage right now is market share. They still sell more EVs than anyone else in the market. And so if they can get away with removing this feature and then therefore people signing up for an extra $100 a month payment, then, if it works for them, then I guess this has all been great. But I can't help but feel like this is just yet another thing Tesla has done in the last year. Not even Tesla has done, that Elon has done in the last year to piss people off and lose market. And those people will go buy something else. Because ultimately,
Mhm.
if you're talking about, a cheapest Model Y, even like a Model Y standard model, I think actually Model 3 standard. I was looking earlier at Tesla's currently promotional rates with Tesla's current standard down payment, which was like $3,000. You're looking at a car payment of $500 a month. Now, I know the national average for car payments is way above that now, but to me, $500 a month is still a pretty high car payment in the grand scheme of things. And if you're talking about, I'll have to pay $500 a month and then an additional $100 to get basic safety function backs. Now, don't get me wrong, FSD is way more capable than a lot of these other systems, right? FSD, the whole being able to take you from parking spot to parking spot with, in theory, no intervention is a very cool feature. But ultimately, having to pay the $100 to even get the basics of lane centering is a tough pill to swallow because now you're talking about a $600 a month car payment. And that's on the cheapest version of the car. And then it just scales from there. I've also seen a lot of people
Mhm.
asking the question of Cybertruck. Cybertruck to this day still
Mm.
does not have basic autopilot,
Mhm.
despite the fact that people, when they were buying Cybertruck, that was listed on the window sticker as a feature. What happens now? Does Tesla have to do some form of compensation because they're not getting a feature they were promised on delivery? Do they have to substitute FSD in place of autopilot? Does Tesla do
Oh, they're not
nothing
going to do that.
does Tesla do nothing and settle in small claims court with people that get mad that their car was sold to them and never ended up actually supporting a feature that was promised on the window sticker? I don't know, but that is an interesting question to me. Ultimately, it's a pretty small bucket of people in the grand scheme of things, right? Compared to Model 3, Model Y sales, Cybertruck has not sold near as many as those two cars combined. But
Mhm.
I don't know. This is such a weird one to me. Joel, you're a former Tesla owner and you've had Teslas with autopilot and Teslas with FSD and all that fun stuff. What do you think?
So yeah, I bought my Tesla and it had FSD on it, so I didn't purchase it. Would I have purchased it? Probably not. I wouldn't have paid a subscription for it and at that time it wasn't all that. This was a year ago, almost. I lie, about 6-8 months ago. But yeah, but I only really used it on long trips and it was 2 times a year, so
And you
I
were
could have
also in
lived
a
without
hardware
it.
3 car.
I mean, Hardware 3 car, yes, it was old hardware. So yeah, so I wasn't getting the latest and greatest anyway. Um, we've kind of I just did a whole episode about this, I believe, last week about how you're buying the car and you own the car, but now you don't own the software. Before when you bought the car, the software was there, it stayed, it literally was unchanged. Now you own the car, but not the software. So if you want upgrades, you got to pay for them. Personally, I don't understand why this is gone. My looking outside my window here, my son's snow covered 2023 Mazda 3 hatchback has those features that Tesla is removing away, and we just paid $15,000 for that car. So it doesn't make sense. It's a money grab, is what it is.
Yeah.
They got to get the money some way because sales are down. Sales were down last year. Other EV automakers had increased sales last year. Theirs went down, and they got to probably find a way to make up this revenue. And this is it. I just don't think you're going to get that many people to jump on $100 a month for right now, because as you stated, it's going to go up. It could go up to 129. It could go up to 159. It could go up to 199. No one knows. There's no planning saying, hey, if you buy it now for $99 a month, that's good for an entire year.
Subscription.
And
they can change the price.
Yeah, it's good for a year. Yeah. Yeah. You could buy it now for $99 a month, and then in April it's $129. You're like, wait a minute,
Right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it just sucks because I'm even talking with Colin, a lot of people want used vehicles that have FSD. And now we're going to start seeing less and less of those on the road because it's a subscription service. And when you sell the car, the subscription goes with it. So it just sucks. I mean, because these are standard safety features that all cars should have. But like you said, these are basic features. These aren't like the upper echelon features that you need. These are basic features, and now Tesla's removed them. It makes no sense. It's a money grab, and I'll say what it is. And it just sucks. This is a plain old, it just sucks.
Yeah, and I mean, and it just ultimately, it makes, in my opinion, the cars less competitive. Teslas have the best software. But to someone maybe getting into their first EV or whatever, that might not matter that much to them. And if they're looking at a $40,000 Model Y or a $40,000 EV from literally any other brand, most people buying cars for especially a first-time EV or whatever, they're looking at range, charge speed, and what the car does. At this point, most of the other $40-something thousand dollar EVs have similar range to the Model 3, Model Y.
Yep.
At least over 300 miles, we'll say. They almost
our
all
cars
charge
are very
the same or better.
Yep.
And
ours
they're
charge better.
All have lane centering and adaptive cruise and blind spot monitoring. And, sure, they don't have FSD. They can't take you parking spot to parking spot. But most people still don't care about that.
No.
And that's one of the things I keep seeing online is a lot of people are like, people don't want to drive their cars. It's like, most people do. Now, I'm not saying that's always going to be the case. I definitely think there is a place in the market for autonomy and autonomous cars and autonomous driving, whatever. I'm all for the tech, all for it.
People with disabilities, people who have issues maybe driving at night with stigmatism. Yeah, it's a perfect feature for people like that.
I think in the current market right now, there are more people that would rather drive their car and have just the basic suite of ADAS features than people that are willing to pay $99 or $120 or $150 or $200 a month for full self-driving.
Yeah, and you mentioned it in our last review of driving, I believe, the Model 3 performance. You were showing, I believe, FSD, or I forget which test we were doing. You're like, I don't have nothing to do. I mean,
it's like, what do I do now?
My hands are in my lap. We're chatting. What do I do now? I'm kind of bored. And the one thing about having a Tesla is they're fun to drive. That's why people drive them. It's not driving a little 4-cylinder, Toyota Corolla or something. These cars are fun to drive. They have instant torque. They whip around. They're fun to drive. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
I don't either. Anyway.
I'm lost.
All right. You want to move on to a more happy topic? All right.
Let's move on.
DC fast charging continues growing in the U.S. So despite some ongoing uncertainty around the U.S. EV market thanks to a shifting political climate, that's how I'll word that, the rollout of EV fast charging in the U.S. did not falter. According to Perrin, the U.S. added 18,000 DC fast charging ports in 2025, which is up from the 14,000 added in 2024. The biggest growth did come from Tesla, who added 6,786 ports in 2025. And just for reference, that is more than the next 9 charge point operators combined. Tesla now accounts for 52.3% of all DC fast charging ports in the US. DC fast charging use in the US also continues to grow, with an estimated 141 million charging sessions in 2025, which is a 30% increase over 2024. Perrin reports that there are now more than 120 CPOs operating in the U.S. Perrin also reports that the trend for 2025 seems to be opening larger sites with higher power meaning, increased throughput, etc., versus the DC fast charging rollout of yesterday, which was focused on kind of smaller, more sparse, scattered about sites. I don't have that many more notes on this because it's all just numbers, but I mean, it's very cool to see that even if demand is getting shakier, maybe not going to grow as fast as expected, that we're seeing the need for the ports is still there. The need for investment in this infrastructure is still there. We're seeing increased
Without federal
utilization,
funding.
yeah, people are still seeing payoff from building these charge stations. And so that's ultimately, in my opinion, a good thing because that means that hopefully the competition will continue. People will continue rolling out.
Yeah.
Maybe 2026 we see, maybe if not an increase in ports again, like maybe if it went from 14 to 18,000, maybe this year it's 20,000. But at least maybe it'll at least stay a stagnant level of growth. Maybe we'll see another 18,000 this year, and just keep going, keep going, keep going. Anyway, but yeah, I just happy to see that despite everything going on in the world, we're still seeing growth in this space.
So yeah, I mean, and we've talked about this before. When electric vehicles came out, you had a big surge in EV sales, but really not a big surge in charging infrastructure. And I think we're going to see an opposite in the next year to 18 months, where we're going to see EV sales maybe gain some traction, maybe not the huge jumps that they've made, but we're going to start seeing charging infrastructure catch up, which needs to happen. We need charging infrastructure to catch up. It just didn't do it. In 2024, and for the most part of 2025, we were still trying to get up with charging infrastructure. I mean, we've seen it pop up in our state with the Flying J's, with Iona, with other, with more Teslas coming online here, and private Tesla charging coming online. I mean, Francis, I believe you post something about Francis Energy rebranding Tesla superchargers as their own now, which is good because Francis Energy chargers are junk. And I'm glad to see them partner with someone that actually has decent chargers. But yeah, so yeah, we're seeing infrastructure catch up, and then hopefully once infrastructure catches up, more people will be comfortable driving EVs, and things like that. What I'd like to see, this is dumb. There's not really any signage along the roads for EV chargers. I mean,
Yeah.
when you get to the little blue signs, it doesn't. I know that's probably a state by state thing. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it doesn't say like EV charging. Like when you go to the Conway one, it doesn't say Tesla's charging for the gas
So
or fuel, whatever. It just
there's a couple ways that it's being done. So Pilot has started doing it. Pilot Flying J. When you look at like in Arkansas, you can see it. For example, when you see the sign for gas stations and you see Pilot listed, if they have EV charging, there's a little green banner at the bottom of the logo that says EV charging.
good.
And
Okay,
I've seen in other states where Tesla has actually gotten us on a sign the Tesla logo, and it says supercharger, as on the little blue sign or whatever. I can't remember what state. One state has actually rolled out the little blue sign that actually says EV charging. But yeah, so we're starting to see some of that. I've also seen on some of Pilot Flying J's billboards that they'll actually put EV charging on the billboard as well, which is, nice to see, good to see. But yeah, I'm hoping as it goes, because that's one thing too that I still run into. I'll talk to family members, whatever. They're like, "Well, where do you charge it?" It's like they'll be like, "I drove all the way to," and they'll list some city that I've been to, and I didn't see a single charger. It's like, well, I promise you, they're there.
They're there.
You just didn't notice them. Which I mean, understandably, you didn't notice them. A, you're driving a gas car. Why would you care? But B, they're not advertised.
Yeah.
And so that's one area, as if they start getting more and more advertising, I think that'll also help show people was like, oh, wait, these actually do exist. This is actually real. Of course, whenever I've had family members mention that to me, it does make me chuckle a little bit because it's like, you just listed a place that I've been to.
Yeah.
I've obviously made that trip in my car.
There's no chargers in Conway. Yes, there are. I've told you I've charged in Conway before.
Yeah,
it's just
this wasn't a trip.
I'm glad that
this wasn't a trip I've made in my car, but like I was talking to my family, and they had just gone to like Denver, and they're like, "Well, there's like no EV charging between here and Denver," and I'm just in my head, I'm just like, "I promise you,
Yep,
I could make that trip."
Yep. Yeah, I'm just glad we're seeing some more diversity out there. Iona, they're getting ready to come up on their second anniversary, I believe. We're going to be hosting an event here in Little Rock at the Iona Rechargery. So if you're listening in Little Rock, February 7th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we'll be out at the Casey's that has
11
the
to
Iona
1, right?
Rechargery in it. 11 to 1, sorry. Yeah, 11 to 1. 11 to, what did I say?
You said 11 to 2. I mean, I'll hang out for an
Oh,
extra
no,
hour
no.
if you want.
We'll hang out there. Yeah, we'll hang out and chat with people. We're going to have some cool swag. Yeah, we're going to hop on a call probably tomorrow and see what that's all about, since I'm technically snowed in still and Sebastian is not. He has to go back to work, but I'm technically snowed in still. But yeah, exciting to have these new DC fast chargers come online.
All right, is it time to talk about Tesla again?
We got to go back to it. Yep.
All right, let's talk about Tesla again. Everyone, say goodbye to the Model S and the Model X. During this week's Tesla earning call, the automaker announced that the Model S and Model X would be departing in Q2 2026. While this honestly doesn't come as a surprise, there were several people, including myself, that hoped Tesla would give the cars an actual honest-to-God refresh, continuing their status as the brand's Halo cars.
Yep.
You know, maybe they'll add an 800-volt architecture like they did on Cybertruck, or 48-volt low-voltage systems like they did on Cybertruck, etc. Just anything, right? Instead, they're just going to kill it. Tesla will be discontinuing those two models. You know, for those who've been living under a rock, or maybe not, maybe you're just new to the EV space, I don't fault you for that. The Model S was, of course, Tesla's original car, or at least, you know, it's the first one they built themselves. It wasn't just an EV converted Lotus. Anyway, introduced way back in 2012, the Model S has received modest improvements over the years, and the latest version is a legitimately competent car. You know, over 400 miles of range, super quick, super comfortable, pretty nice ride, like a pretty competent, nice car. The Model X was introduced in 2015 as Tesla's flagship SUV and has most of the same underpinnings as the Model S, but included fun features like falcon wing doors. Whether you love them, hate them, whatever, they're kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. And it received, over the years, a lot of the same improvements Model S did. Unfortunately, as the cars have soldiered on, the pricing for them has fluctuated wildly, and the sales numbers have then continued to dwindle year over year. So, why is Tesla killing its original flagship models? Robots. The answer is robots. Tesla is planning to transition the production lines at its Fremont plant from the Model S and Model X over to building its Optimus robots. And the earnings call had several weird tones about autonomy and vehicle sales just in general, because it kind of sounds like from this recent earnings call, Tesla's not really interested in building cars anymore, it sounds like.
Nope.
During the earnings call, the company was asked about any plans to introduce additional models at potentially lower price points. You know, that's one of the things Tesla's talked about for a long time, wanting to have a more affordable model, etc. And to which they replied, and I quote, "You have to start thinking about us as moving to providing transportation as a service more than the total addressable market for the purchased vehicles alone." End of quote. And then Elon stated, quote, "Long term, the only vehicles that we'll be making are autonomous vehicles." End quote. With the announced cancellation of the Model S and X, that leaves Tesla with only the Model 3 and Y, which admittedly do sell very well, although they have started to slip some. The Cybertruck, which I feel like has to be the next one on the shopping block. And then you have Semi, which is getting its feet wet still. It's just an interesting move. Again, this goes back to the Autopilot company of just, it really feels like there's a pretty solid shift over in the Tesla space. And I'm not talking about leadership alone. I'm just talking about Tesla, Tesla and as in general. If they're really moving more towards this whole robotaxi and robot thing, you know, they're building cyber cabs that you can't buy, but you can book rides in and offering rideshare services or whatever. Like, are they trying to gear up to be a robotics and Waymo? Like, what is the next move? What is the next plan? Should we expect any major changes to come to Model 3, Model Y moving forward? Or will we 5 years down the line be having the same conversation about them discontinuing Model 3, Model Y, even though they're honestly the best-selling cars? I mean, they're the best-selling EVs in the world still, allegedly. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels, it's a weird time to follow Tesla right now. Just to follow Tesla in general.
Yeah, you would think with the way the current market is going, because everyone else is racing towards a sub 30,000 EV, you think they would. I mean, yeah, they got to bring in revenue somehow. I mean, right now their cars and probably their storage is the base is their main revenue sharing, is their member share. It's just their main revenue. So yeah, I'm excited about these robots coming online, but not everyone's going to rush out and spend thousands of dollars on a robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
they
mean, and
will for a
Tesla, like you
car.
mentioned, they do have
Yeah.
other ventures that do well. Tesla Energy does
Yeah.
phenomenal from what I can tell, as far
Yep.
as selling battery storage and building chargers, and now the Supercharger for Business program, things like that. As from what I can tell, Tesla Energy seems to be rock stars.
Yep.
But they're still just one part of a gigantic company. And
Yep.
I've seen a lot of people talk online that this really just feels like Elon has a current obsession with robotics and stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yep.
But I feel like if that's the case, he could have done that under another company and
Mm-hmm.
allowed Tesla to continue building. Like, it didn't have to be Tesla. We didn't have to
Well,
start
the
chopping
rumor
things
is
off of
they're all going to
Tesla.
combine.
Right. With the whole, what was it, $2
And
billion investment in XAI from Tesla,
XAI,
a
SpaceX,
publicly traded
Tesla, and just
company,
combine them into one
to,
company, and you have all your
yeah,
revenue under one area. So yeah,
it's interesting. I feel like there's a lot of ways this could have gone down that maybe didn't require nuking Tesla's vehicle portfolio. But what do I know? I'm not a trillionaire or a billionaire or whatever else.
so you may have said this, but I wasn't paying attention, which is normal. Did they say when this switchover would happen?
So the Model S and X will be discontinued in Q2 2026.
Oh, that's quick. Oh, I would have
Yeah.
thought we would have had a so long farewell year. I thought,
No. Like middle of this year. Sayonara.
So sales will most likely decrease again this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because they're going to have less vehicles to
you got
sell.
to make it up. I mean, yeah. I mean, what Model S did what? Maybe 10,000 a quarter, or was all three of them did 10,000, 12,000, 15,000?
Yeah, I want to say
quarter?
it's estimated,
Is-
like last year,
yeah.
I think it's estimated they sold maybe 30,000 S and X's, which is
Okay,
not
so
that many
yeah.
cars compared to Model 3 and Model Y.
Nope.
But it's still
Yep.
30,000 vehicles.
Yep. You're gonna have to make up that revenue somewhere, and they're probably not going to be producing robots to sell this year. So we shall see.
We shall see.
We shall see. Interesting
Well,
earning
hey,
calls coming up the next few quarters for Tesla.
since I just mentioned Tesla Semi, let's talk about some good news about Tesla Semi. There's a pretty new major Tesla Semi charging deal. Tesla has launched a new partnership with Pilot Flying J to install semi-chargers at select locations, with the first sites expected to be open by summer of 2026. The sites are planned to be located where demand for semi-charging is highest. So some of the examples were listed were Interstate 5, Interstate 10, and then there's other major corridors as well. Pilot, if you are unfamiliar, is one of the United States' largest travel center companies, serving approximately 1.2 million people every day. And this is just another trick up their sleeve. As we know, Pilot has also partnered with GM and EVgo to deploy high-powered DC charging at its locations nationwide. And now with the addition of semi-charging, it seems like the company is on track to have coverage in almost every slice of the market. I didn't realize this until I was reading on it earlier. Shouldn't have been surprised, but I didn't know it. Did you know that Pilot is like wholly owned by Berkshire Hathaway?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had no idea. It makes sense,
Me
but
neither.
I didn't know that. Anyway, I didn't have tons of notes on this because, again, this is just kind of the announcement of the plan. It's not actually in motion yet. And I don't think this is Pilot's first foray into semi-charging either. I can't remember there was another company, Pilot semi-charging. Let me look it up. I should have had this pulled up already.
I'll stop sharing.
And of course, all my articles are from this one and not previous ones.
So you thinking they partnered with
Anyway,
someone else for semi?
there was another company that they
Charging?
had previously that they had previously announced a partnership as well. Was it this one? Expands.
So was it a semi truck you're
with
thinking,
Volvo.
Sebastian, or just another?
Yeah, it was with Volvo.
Okay.
Because Volvo was, is another major semi manufacturer. Anyway.
Okay.
And that was back in 2022. So yeah, this isn't even Pilot's first foray into this market, but very interesting because
Okay.
the new semi chargers are based on V4 cabinets, for better or worse, it feels like, that are capable of delivering 1.2 megawatts of power to the semi, and use the now industry standard MCS connector, which means they, in theory, will be available to more than just Tesla semis to use, which is a good thing. And yeah, we're starting talking about big boy power, and I just get excited because it's like 1.2 megawatts. Heck yeah, but hell yeah, brother.
That's some juice flow in there.
That's
a lot of juice.
That's what like a Chinese sedan does over in China, but we'll ignore that part.
Hey, someday.
All right, Joel. You ready for the next one?
Is it Tesla?
No.
Okay.
We're going to talk about some weirdness in Kia land.
Yeah, so I saw this pop up on my feed a couple days ago. This is interesting, yeah.
So the Kia Niro EV is soldiering on for some reason. So Kia has announced that the Niro EV will be continuing in the US for 2026. They announced pricing for the vehicle, and I'm just confused. So first off, there was kind of a question floating around of if the Niro EV would still stick around. Kia recently announced the newly redesigned Niro in South Korea, and it made no mention of the EV model in this announcement. And that made sense because Kia now has the EV2, the EV3, EV4, EV5, in addition to the EV6 and the EV9. And, all of those models are smaller than EV6 and fill in the niche that the Niro previously occupied. But we're going to get the Niro EV still in the US. And I'm just assuming this has to be because we're not getting the EV2, 3, 4, and 5 here because current political climate, whatever.
What's your catchphrase? Current political climate?
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, the pricing for the 2026 Niro EV just makes no sense to me. So the 2026 Niro EV will start at $39,700. And for $39,700, you get 253 miles of EPA-rated range, 85 kilowatt DC fast charging peak advertised, a 10 to 80 time of 43 minutes.
That's not stellar.
To compare, in the 2026 EV market, the new Nissan Leaf starts at $29,900 and has 303 miles of range, and Nissan claims 35 minutes for charging. They don't claim if it's 10 to 80, what percentage it is, but they say 35 minutes. The new Chevy Bolt starts at $28,500 with 262 miles of range, and GM just updated this figure. It is better than it was when they announced the car. 25-minute 10 to 80.
Ooh.
The Model Y Standard, since we can talk about that car for fun, now starts at $39,900 with 321 miles of range. Although that car does not have lane centering, and the Niro EV does.
I knew you were going to say that.
But even if you look at the Niro's own family, the 2026 Ioniq 5 starts at $35,000 for the small battery, which the small battery is not the Ioniq 5 to get, in my opinion. But the Ioniq 5 with a small battery has similar range to the Niro EV and a 10 to 80 time of only 20 minutes, not 43 minutes. And it's $5,000 cheaper. And if you want a big battery
Yep.
Ioniq 5, those now start at $37,500 and will get you 318 miles of range in the same 20-minute DC fast charging time. Kia has not announced
Yep.
anything about the 2026 EV6 yet, so I don't have any pricing for that model or anything. But when it's announced, I'm very curious to see where the Niro then falls in the lineup, because unless the EV6 is going to be like $5,000 more expensive than the Ioniq 5, I don't see it being more expensive than the Niro.
I mean, it
This
only
is
makes
just
sense. It only makes sense to keep it as a plug-in hybrid. I mean, get rid of the
yeah,
electric version, just have a plug-in hybrid, because that's I don't understand.
yeah.
It doesn't make
And
sense for
the
those.
Niro EV and the Kona EV, both, when they were originally launched, were kind of compliance cars, right? Now, we've
Yep.
driven the Kona. It was actually way better than we both expected it would be. It's
Mhm.
not a ground up EV, so it does suffer from
Nope.
some of the issues that converted or compliance EVs suffer from, but it was a pretty competent car, and I assume the Niro is a pretty competent car too. It's the same platform, same whatever. Hyundai for 2026 is only bringing the tiny battery Kona EV into the US, which means it will be cheaper than the Ioniq 5. It has less range, whatever, but they're only bringing that one version in. And I assume that is so that
Makes
it
sense.
doesn't illogically cost more money than the Ioniq 5. And so that's why I just feel like it's odd that Kia is bringing in the more expensive Niro EV, unless they're just planning to not cut EV6 pricing. Then that means EV6, which already was selling pretty poorly compared to the Ioniq 5, in the brand's portfolio. EV6 has done okay, but it's not done near as well as Ioniq 5 has. Um, and so looking at the portfolio, if the EV6 isn't going to get the same price cut that the Ioniq 5 did, then the Ioniq 5 will continue to outsell the EV6 and will probably do so
Mhm.
even more. But if it does get the price cuts the Ioniq 5 does, who the heck buys the Niro?
Yep.
Unless you're getting some insane $99 a month lease deal on it or whatever.
Yep.
Um,
129 a month or something like that. Yep.
and again, that's starting at 39,700. I want to say the second trim level, it's the Wave. I think Wind is the base model, Wave is the second trim. The second trim's like 43 grand.
Whoa! Now you're getting the
And
Model Y pricing.
and that's Model Y premium pricing. Like that's
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
so anyway, I don't understand why why we're still doing this. Don't get me wrong, the new Niro looks good. I mean, it still looks like a Niro.
Yeah.
It keeps the design, the design language you expect from it, whatever. But
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know,
I mean,
Joel.
at worst case, these are made in South Korea, right?
Yes,
They're not made in
I
the
think.
US, are they? So why not bring one of the new EV2, 3, or 4s that are made in
Yeah, if you're
South
already
Korea
going
over
through the
instead?
trouble
I mean,
if you're already going
yeah,
through the trouble of importing the car, why not import? Um, Unless we're wrong, do they make them
the
here?
latest and greatest. Yeah.
Although
I
I
don't
don't
think they
think
make
they
them at their
make them
Georgia
here.
plant. I believe when we drove the Kona, it was not assembled here.
Yeah, they assemble them in South Korea. So yeah, why wouldn't you just go ahead
Yeah.
and import EV4, or I guess not EV4, that's a
Yeah.
hatchback. EV5 or EV3.
Yeah. Yep. That
Either
it's
one
the
of those
latest and
cars. I'm
greatest
cool with
tech.
either one. I
Yep.
Yeah, I hadn't even really thought about that, but you're not wrong. Why would you bother?
Once in a while, I say something smart. So yeah, probably just once a show. But yeah, I mean, get rid of the old, bring in the new. You're probably that's built on the same kind of platform as the other EV, the EV689. So it's probably going to cost less to manufacture. Same tariffs. So why not bring
It's
one of those over? See
interesting.
what happens.
Yeah,
Yep.
I hmm.
Giving you
All
something
right,
to think
Joel.
about, Sebastian, haven't I?
I feel like we've been too negative on this show. Give me some positive news, please.
The snow's
Or
melting.
talk about something positive. The snow is melting.
The
I
snow
hope
is
everyone
melting.
listening
I
got
was able to
away
get
from
out of
this
my
mostly unscathed. Because I know it blanketed a lot of the country, and we honestly
Yep.
got it pretty easy here, and that was with us getting like 6 inches of ice.
Oh, we got close to 11 total of everything here in
Hmm.
Sherwood. There's a little
Mine
circle
was
like North Little Rock, Sherwood that got a bunch.
We got just 6 inches of ice, no snow, only
Ugh.
ice. It was only
See?
sleet, and sleet accumulated to ice, and then it didn't do it for like 2 hours to allow that to harden up, and then it started again. So when I was shoveling my driveway, I could literally get the top layer of ice off and then had to get the bottom layer of ice off. My driveway is too long
Yeah.
and steep, and
And
I
it
was
starts
hurting.
snowing when? It starts snowing what, late Friday?
Friday
When did it
night.
start snowing?
Yeah, it was Friday
Friday
night
night.
and
So yeah,
stopped Sunday
yep,
night or Sunday morning.
yep. I got in my house Friday night back from the in-laws around 6 p.m. and I've been in my house until 2 o'clock today when I went and got Taco Bell. That's a long time to be in a house with kids
Which,
and
for those listening,
dogs
2
and a
o'clock
life.
today would be 2 o'clock on January 29th. So Thursday.
Yep. Thursday,
Um,
6 days,
yeah.
basically, of not leaving my house. It's not fun. Shoveling snow is fun. Shoveling snow on top of ice,
Yeah, shoveling
not
just
fun.
6-inch thick ice is no fun. Because you got to
No. 6
break
inches of
it. You
snow,
got to,
easy. Yeah.
yeah, you just push it out the way. Ice, you have to break up, and then it's heavy, and you have to throw it, and you have to, yeah, it's,
Yeah. Well, the issues we had here too was that all the sleet hit the roof and then falls over. So like I have a back porch that has a screen door and a doggy door to get out to the backyard. Those are all have snow drifts or ice drifts in front of them.
yeah.
So I've been having to take the dogs out the front, which makes me look like that horrible neighbor with the dog pooping in the front yard in a really nice neighborhood. So I was out there today digging out the doggy door. My wife handed me pitchers of hot water to dump on it. I'm reaching out the doggy door around to the front of the screen door and dumping it on like this, trying to get the door open so I get out. My wife's like, "You could have just walked around." I was like, "Yeah, it's too cold, and I'm not doing all that." So yeah,
Yeah.
that was 30 minutes of my life today trying to dig out the doggy door. But yeah, but we all
Um,
made it. We're alive. We didn't lose electricity or heat or cable, so I don't think. Did you?
no, we're good. I had my car ready.
We're good.
I
We
had
did.
charged it up to 90%. I had my
Yep.
V2O stuff in the house. I was all set to go and didn't have to use it.
And that's
Um,
my family members. My wife was like, "Do you have your generator?" I'm like, "I don't need a generator." Like, "What are you gonna do if you lose power?" I'm like, "Well, I could pull electricity off my car." They're like, "Well, so you can plug like one thing into it?" I was like, "No, I can plug an extension cord into it and power the fridge and power some lights, maybe a space heater." I
yeah.
got two of them, so I can run down to 5% and then go hop on the other
Yeah, and
one.
you
And
have 2
I got at
EGMP
least six
cars,
or
so
seven days. I got at least
you
six or
had like
7 days of
you have like 170 kilowatt hours of energy at your disposal. I only had 70.
yeah. Yep, I had 100. Yep, I was good to
Um,
go. We were rolling. So yeah. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
that's basically what we've
So
been doing this last week, and
you mentioned it earlier. Just go
I
ahead and
did.
start plugging it. We'll talk about it again next week. But on
Sure.
Saturday, February 7th, is next Saturday the 7th.
Mhm. Yes, it is. You're right.
Saturday, February 7th, we will be meeting up at the Iona location in Little Rock at the Casey's um, to celebrate Iona's 2nd anniversary. So this is the first Iona station we've had here in the state. It opened very recently. It's only been open 3 or 4 weeks now. And so this will be Joel and I's first. I'm assuming, Joel, I don't remember if you've been by it or not. I haven't yet. This will be our first time really being there. Of course, we're going to try to use it. We're going to try to charge it. We're going to make sure it's available to other people. And we're just going to have a little get together. Iona says they're sending us some
Mhm.
merch to give out. They're going to give us some other stuff to do. And we're just going to hang out, treat it kind of like a cars and coffee type event. Just, have fun, get to meet
Mhm.
other people in the community. We've got a Facebook group out there. We've had a couple people reply saying they're coming, which I'm excited about. I'm excited to see Doug
Yeah.
again and some others. So yeah, uh, Saturday, February 7th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Right?
It looks like it's going to be sunny, mid to high 50s, so it's going to be a really nice day out. Hopefully, all the snow is gone by then. But yeah, it's out of Casey's. So if you don't remember that episode, I ought to partner with Casey's. So you can go in there, grab a drink, grab a pizza, come on out, hang out with us. I believe there's 8 ports, 6
8 ports, 4
CCS, 2
dispensers.
NACS.
Yep.
8 ports, 4 dispensers, 6 NACS, 6 CCS, 2 NACS. But yeah, it's a
Yep.
really cool location. We stopped by there real quick just to get a little walk around to see what it was like. And I think I may have tried to charge on it, but yeah, I believe it was 39 cents a kilowatt, which isn't too bad compared to 60 some cents at the the Pilot J. So, yeah, it's a really good location too. It's right off the interstate, right near the Outlet Mall. It's the corner of coming in south from Little Rock. Just cool. But yeah, if you're in Little Rock, if you're watching, stop by, say hi to us. You know, and we'll give you any swag that we have a call tomorrow with Ayana. So any swag they send us, we'll be more than happy to hand out to you. We have some of our own swag too. We may give you. So
Yeah. All right. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, tap that follow button and leave us a quick rating. Or on any of the other audio platforms, do whatever, follow, like, recast. I don't know. I don't know podcast terms. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It does help us grow. So long, everyone, and we will see you on the next episode of The Friday Charge.